If you have spent years and years and years doing similar things in the same industry, it can be a little scary to look further afield and consider doing something different. Our next guest has made that jump, and she's decided to invest some time and energy into helping others do the same. Amanda Schultz is a TV producer by background on big shows like Big Brother Canada and The Bachelor Canada. She has now started a platform that she calls Scene Change, and it's really all about helping TV folks realize they have a lot of value to add in other environments. Amanda joins us now. Hello there.
Hello, thanks for having me.
A full circle moment. Back in like 2011, I was the host of a show called Million Dollar Neighborhood on the Oprah Winfrey Network. And you were a bright, shiny, super keen. What were you, a production assistant at that time?
Production assistant. Yep, it was my very first job in TV. So real full circle moment to now be debuting Scene Change to the world and talking about it here with
Love
you.
it. It's so perfect. So you worked on lots of shows. You worked on the Junos. You did a whole bunch of stuff in the event space. And then at a certain point, you said, I'm going to try something different. And now your, primary gig is working in a more traditional consulting organization. Why did you make the change?
I felt like I needed a reset in terms of, I knew that I had this body of skills that was very useful. I could see that I was good at things, but I felt it was really challenging to put a shape around them. But I also would talk to my friends who worked in other industries, and like my sister's an engineer. So I knew what project managers do and that they're everywhere, and that the essence of what I was doing day to day was project management. And when I started to feel like the entertainment industry wasn't working for me any longer, I wanted to say, how can I do this without starting over? And what parts of this job do I really like? What fires me up? What kinds of challenges do I really love? And where else could I possibly find those challenges without some of the things that were more draining on the challenging side of working in the entertainment industry?
And in TV, you learn lots of skills that are transferable, but the language is pretty TV. What did you go to Duolingo? How did you learn to translate the language of all that you did into other environments where people will go, okay, yeah, that I like that. That makes sense, that thing.
A lot of it came from talking to friends or people who worked in more corporate environments, but the main real kick in the pants for me was when COVID hit and I had all this free time on my hands. My career disappeared overnight because I worked in live events, and I just decided to invest precious savings in doing the PMP certification, so project management professional. And what I learned and got out of that was not what I expected at all. I didn't really learn new concepts, let's say. I just learned the frameworks of what my brain already did in TV, and I learned to connect the dots between some corporate buzzwords that would come up in the PMP and the actual tactical day-to-day actions that I would take as a producer on a reality show or a lifestyle show or live events, whatever it was. I connected the dots, and then I really created Scene Change as the thing that I wish I had when I was doing that. Because PMP is expensive. It's a barrier for a lot of people.
I've covered other kind of career transition resources. Like there's one for dancers, for example, where dancers, finish at the National Ballet and they transition into something else. Tell us a bit about what you're trying to accomplish with Scene Change, and how do you go about doing that? Is this like events? Is it online courses? What does it include?
Yes. So the core objective is to show people that the transfer is not starting over. It's not a skills gap, it's a translation gap. And that the value that you can get of doing things like my courses, but also other industry trainings, the main value that you're going to get is learning how to do that translation. You may learn the odd new skill by doing technical certifications, but at the end of the day, I always found the value was in translating the skills that I already had. So teaching people that they have those skills is part of the platform as well. There's some things that are obvious. I do schedules. Other industries have schedules, but things like adaptability as a skill set is everyone in entertainment has to have that to thrive. So I didn't realize it was a skill until I left. And so showing people not just how to transfer the skills they know they have, it's helping identify skills that they don't realize are unique, that they really bring to the table and add to organizations. So I've got a mix of different resources in the platform. I've got a foundations course out right now, and I'm working on 3 deep dives that basically go into the concepts we cover there. I'm also writing articles on Substack, quick tips and tricks on TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn. Great. So for anyone, however you learn.
So we've got listeners who are like in the entertainment industry and they're thinking, oh my God, I have a future. I love this idea. We also have people who listen who they're hiring managers. So they're not in entertainment, but they hire people. What would you say to them about some of the skills that entertainment folks over-index on? And, as someone who's been on set and has done TV for a very long period of time, these aren't just like a little bit better when you have someone with this experience, like a whole order of magnitude difference for people who work in TV. They're demands that are simply not placed upon people in other industries, maybe for good reason, because some of them probably wouldn't pass the health and safety sniff test. But talk a bit about what some of those skills are that I think a corporate audience would call superpowers when they see them in practice.
Absolutely. I think this is like one of my favorite things to talk about because it always gets me fired up and other people too. That the main one is adaptability. That is something that corporate doesn't train for. It just doesn't, because the environment that you're in, the way that corporate change management happens has typically been quite slow. Like if a large organization, like a Big Four consulting firm, that's my main client now in the work that I do, think of them as like a tanker, like an oil tanker, and you're trying to pivot it. It can only move so fast, but you have learned how to drive a speedboat and you're running that same race course. So that ability to parachute into any scenario that's tricky, you arrive on day one of your work and it's everyone else's day one too. Like corporate can't fathom that. They don't train for that success. So
I'm smiling because I remember I was working on this pilot for a reality show and we were in someone's home and the decor was horrendous. It was just not TV ready. So the head of casting goes and buys canvases from the dollar store, buckets of paint, and creates original art to redact. She's not even the art director. She's the head of casting. And that's just what you would do because that's what's required at that moment. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm a career changer. I started in corporate and moved into TV, so the opposite direction. What would you say about the fears and concerns that career changers from entertainment to any other world, what are some of the things that people have to deal with about that?
I think honestly, a lot of it is confidence based and not having the context to connect the dots to what might be on the other side. So you assume that you have to start over. You assume that if you have spent your whole career building a network and these skills that are in a specific lane of a specific industry, that it only applies there and that starting over is this giant thing that you'd have to do, or you're going back to school, back to square one, like back. But like that is not the reality, and that's not the reality of the future of work either. Like the skills that entertainment professionals bring, that adaptability, the ability to tell a story, connect to like what's the audience of this thing that I need to deliver. It's a PowerPoint, it's a presentation, or it's a document. That ability, those soft skills are needed now more than ever, and organizations are moving faster and faster and faster. So people don't see that it is forward looking, anything that they want to do. A change is forward or it's lateral, but it's certainly not backwards.
One of the things I know, I'm just thinking as you're talking that I had to kind of sort through myself was some grief about leaving that and the people of that and the adrenaline rush of that and all that made it so great. I mean, there's lots of things that weren't so great about it, but that made it so great. How do people sort that out for themselves? They want to make the change. They've wrestled their fear and concern to the ground, but they're also a little like nostalgic. They don't want to let go of that time of their life.
Oh, that is a big question. I feel like I'm still trying to figure out the answer to that. And for me, it's been like, because I've been able to diversify the way that I make money off of my skills, it actually has kind of opened up the door to do both.
Yeah.
From like a practical standpoint of how do I make a living, I'm able to go take a contract on the Junos when they were in Vancouver last year because I wanted to. I produce a podcast with my husband because I want to. I can still like make the space to do that.
Yeah.
But on the emotional side, I think that I find solace in the fact that the highest highs come with the lowest lows in entertainment. And once I accepted the fact that I would be giving up the highest highs of it, but I would also be free from what for me was no longer working because of the lowest lows.
Yeah.
And a little more, steady environment was what I was looking for.
Yeah. Just before we go, one of the things that I think is so compelling about Scene Change is, sure, you offer programs and coaching and all those sorts of things, which is great. It also feels like you're pulling together a community of people who are at the ready, like charged up to go and do this thing together. Could you talk a bit about the community of former TV people and where Scene Change plays within that?
Yeah, that's what's been so awesome that's developed very organically was Scene Change came out of the fact that I could no longer keep up with the coffee chat requests or let's go to lunch for people looking for tips or bounce things off of each other. And so connecting people that are in the same situation is a huge part of it. And then how can I support that is kind of like almost secondary. So as I look at how Scene Change will grow, it's developing a network of people who now work in corporate environments. Like they're part of my focus groups that I've been testing the content on to be like, does this land? Does this resonate for you like it does for me in corporate? But also people who are making that change and knowing that you've got people with all these skills who are super talented superstars. And like, how do we get them to people who need their skills?
Amanda, congratulations. And I'm excited for what comes next.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been really great to chat.
Amanda Schultz is the founder of Scene Change. It is a platform for folks who work in the entertainment industry to make a transition to their next thing. I was going to say next chapter, but given that it's the entertainment business, I should really say to their next episode. Huh?
There we go.
It's good, right?
I love it. Love it. I'm going to take it.